In a major diplomatic win, India has been able to free all the 8 Navy veterans who were in the jail of Qatar. 7 of them have already arrived in Delhi. We know that it has been 18 months of ordeal for the families and these Navy veterans who were in the jail of Qatar, who were part of Al Dahra company, who was imparting training to the military personnel of Qatar. There have been some misunderstanding, and those charges onto which these people were put behind the bars are still not in public domain. They are still confidential, and we know that only Navy veterans, their family members, and the councils who try to defend them know the entire detail as to charges, their conviction, and the sentencing, and in the manner which is the sentencing were done. But we do know that they were part of a small group of veterans, of Navy veterans who were imparting training to the forces of Qatar. Now, Ministry of External Affairs has, in a small statement, in a way thanked State of Qatar also for releasing all these 8 Navy veterans. The small statement says that 7 out of the 8 of them have returned to India, and we appreciate the decision by the Emir of the State of Qatar to enable the release and homecoming of these nationals. Now, we'll take you through a small timeline as to how this entire thing has happened, where these 8 nationals were imprisoned, and how the entire course of action happened, where the council access were given, the ambassadors were allowed to meet them, families were allowed to meet them, and gradually, even after their sentences, they did not lose hope, and they had hope that India's diplomatic outreach with Qatar be able to get them all successfully back in their home. On 30th of August, these 8 men, along with 2 others, were arrested for unknown reasons. These charges, as we told you, are still not in public domain officially, so we would rather not speculate as to what were the charges. And then on October 1st, the Indian ambassador in Doha and deputy head of missions met these Navy veterans. On 3rd of October, the first consular access were given to these Navy veterans, and the CEO of Al Dahra also tried to help these officials. However, he was also arrested. He spent 2 months in solitary confinement and was later released on bail in 2023. Now, the veterans' multiple bail pleas were also rejected, and it looked like there is no hope. There was solitary confinement. The families were not allowed any access to them. Counselors' access were also very difficult to achieve. However, the charges were filed against these men in 2023 March. So all of these were charged with whatever the law officials in Qatar deemed fit, that they were part of those issues or those legal violations by the law of Qatar. 29th of March, these trials began in Qatar following those charges, and in May 30th, this Dahra company closed its operation in Doha, and its all employees, mostly Indians, they returned home. Now, on August 4th, the arrested men were moved from solitary confinement to normal cell, and these 2 people, like a couple of them, were distributed in all the 4 cells, and they were having now some sort of relief, some sort of less trauma than having a solitary confinement where they were put alone in walls without any communication, without any ability to have any interaction opportunity with whomsoever. Now, on October 26, 2023, all of these men were sentenced to death. That was a huge, problem for the government of India also, and the family. Of course, their hopes were shattered that after the awarding of these death sentences, will it be possible to get all of them back home? But Indian government continued to work diplomatically. They continued to have outreach with the Qatari officials, and we know after months of these intense backdoor negotiations, these 8 people have been released. 7 of them are very well out, and they are back in Delhi. Now, on 28th December 2023, India said that the 8 ex-Navy personnel will now face commuted punishment. So the punishments were already down from life sentences to some sort of jail terms, longer jail terms, but that was not clear. On February 12th, these people have been now finally released, and all of them have, 7 of them have already arrived in India. They have thanked Prime Minister Modi. Of course, the Indian diplomacy has shown its prowess, how they can do wonders by not letting its citizens face trials, by not letting its citizens be struck in whichever part of the world, in anywhere around the world. We have seen Indian diplomacy successfully evacuating all the Indian nationals, be it in Yemen or in the Russia-Ukraine war, or through the crisis of Sudan that had also we have seen last year happening. So it was in a way a huge diplomatic victory for India, and a huge relief for the families, all of them who have been waiting desperately to have a meeting with their family members who were inside jail in Qatar, and they never knew whether they will be able to return home safely back.
बहुत खुशी हो रही है कि वापस इंडिया पहुंच गए हम सेफ एंड साउंड, और डेफिनेटली ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर श्री मोदी को धन्यवाद करना चाहेंगे कि उनके पर्सनल इंटरवेंशन से ये पॉसिबल हुआ, और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ कतार के हिज एक्सेलेंसी द अमीर को कि उन्होंने ये होने दिया, एंड बस यही बोलना चाहेंगे. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Without the intervention of Prime Minister Modi, it wouldn't be. आज हम आपके सामने खड़े नहीं हो रहे होते अगर इंटरवेंशन नहीं होता एट दैट लेवल, हाईएस्ट लेवल. एंड स्पेशली गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, उनके अथक प्रयास से कि वो कंसिस्टेंटली लगे रहे, एंड वी आर देयर इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू. थैंक यू.
Same thing.
We have waited almost 18 months to be back in India. We're extremely grateful to the Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji. It certainly wouldn't have been possible without his personal intervention and that equation with the Emir of Qatar. I think we are grateful to the Government of India, the bottom of our heart, for the every effort that has been made, and this day wouldn't have been possible without it. Grateful indeed. Thank you so much.